What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here to discuss the ending of the 2023 actors strike. Yes, the SAG-AFTRA strike is tentatively ending as of November 8th, following a 118-day strike. Combined with the earlier Writers Guild strike, that was about 6 months that we just had where Hollywood scripted production was shut down due to work stoppage. And obviously, this is welcome news that the strike is concluding, especially given what gains have been made by the actors, just like the writers before them. I think we talked about the writer's strike when that ended, and I think the initial clearly incorrect thought was that, oh, the actors' resolution will be more of a formality. They'll follow suit. The writers were kind of leading charge here. That was not the case. There were certainly certain sticking points specific to the acting branch, specifically protections against artificial intelligence. Not that AI was absent from the writer's strike, it certainly was not, but rather the details of that were different. And now, looking at what we do know, we don't know all the details just yet. It's still a tentative agreement, but sounds like this will be ratified, which is great. The actors got AI protections for generative AI being used to create synthetic performers, something that primarily would affect higher earning, more profile actors. And specifically, this would be resulting in both requiring consent for such an action and, of course, compensation for it as well. I mean, this is kind of like basic stuff that just needed to be ratified and established in the industry just because it's brand new technology, and you have to put some guardrails up that protect your labor with this fast moving world that is, of course, generative AI, as we all know. Also, big thing about this was a residual structure update based on viewership, specifically regarding to streaming film and TV. The writers also were fighting for something like this, just an update that was just kind of long overdue and actually reflective of the current environment that movies and TV now exist in. I think the other big one is just the general gain in pay raises, and it's above the pattern standard 5%, which is also long overdue. And again, these are kind of changes that really affect below the line, not famous people. And that's really what this fight was about, was just for the more common worker. So obviously, with a negotiation with the work stoppage, you don't get everything you want. The writers found that as well. But it seems like there was a real gains made because the deal that the actors got in November 2023 was not the deal being offered to them by the AMPTP months prior. Now, could the AMPTP have prevented the strike and offered that deal sooner? Absolutely, but that's just the world we live in. So at this point now, it's really a question of saving the 2024 movie slate, because production is not just going to start back up tomorrow. Whether it's wrangling the crews and getting things back in the swing, especially with the holidays coming up, some productions probably won't really get back to work until January, just really due to logistical issues. But the writers have been working on stuff for a while now, following the end of their strike. So there's momentum for sure. And we'll see how this affects award season. I think award season will probably be able to recover more or less fine due to the normally annoyingly long length to award season. That's probably going to benefit this. Currently, any movie that had been out and had its moment already, whether it's something small like Past Lives or obviously an oxygen sucker like Oppenheimer and Barbie, those movies are at an advantage right now because those movies were able to be promoted normally and get in front of people. Now, talent will be able to push the smaller movies coming out this year. So I have a sense that will more or less stabilize. I'll be curious if stuff that was kind of like tentatively delayed that wanted to contend this year, such as The Bike Riders from Mike Nichols, I wonder if that will quickly be dated again and get back in the mix. Bike Riders by Jeff Nichols, not his father, Mike, who has passed. And we've already seen the effects of the movie calendar from the strike already, right? Of course, Dune 2 delayed from this fall to March. Kraven the Hunter delayed from this September to August next year. Challengers with Zendaya delayed from September to April. Those are probably the biggest ones. And now we've, I think, seen some more of the kind of stabilizing things where like Venom 3 delayed from the summer to the fall next year. Honestly, probably a good idea given the success of Venom with previous fall releases. Quiet Place, day one, delay from spring to June next year. All good. I think a lot of stuff probably should be safe now, right? George Miller's Furiosa, that already wrapped production, so that should be good. I guess the question is the Marvel slate, right? You have Deadpool 3, Thunderbolts, and Captain America 4. And all of those are in varying stages of production. It sounds like Deadpool 3 is the farthest along, hence why that was moved back up into May after a lot of date switching. Hopefully they can sort that out because the industry and the theater industry especially will kind of need big tentpoles, right? Because we know Mission Impossible 8 and Disney's Snow White live action, those both delayed out of 2024 into 2025. Hopefully that's the last of the big delays. Gladiator 2, still currently set for fall 2024. That is not yet finished production, but Ridley Scott recently said that he had been editing the first 90 minutes during the strike. So I have confidence Gladiator will come out given how fast Ridley likes to work in general. But yeah, hopefully Crisis is more or less averted. Obviously, the effects of the delays and just general work stoppage, 6 months, it takes a while for that to unshake itself. I think we're going to see kind of a gap in scripted TV. That was already coming as scripted TV production was going down. We kind of already knew that was the case. Peak TV has peaked, and that was happening before the strikes. But now I think we're just going to see a bigger gap. Well, not that there's not TV coming out. There's a lot of stuff releasing at the beginning of the year. But I'll be curious if there's enough of a gap in scripted TV shows coming out that the audience, the average person, feels any difference. Because I think all of us know nowadays that there's just so many TV shows that are really great or supposed to be pretty decent that you might have interest in, but you just don't have enough time to check them all out. I wonder if that feeling will honestly realistically change that much for the average person with less stuff coming out. We'll see how that goes. In terms of the big shows, I think HBO kind of let on recently that Euphoria Season 3, White Lotus Season 3, those are 2025 shows at this point, but House of the Dragon is coming in 2024 for Season 2. Be curious if Apple's Pachinko and obviously Disney's Andor Season 2, HBO's Industry Season 2. Hopefully we still get all of that in 2024. I think we will, but we'll see. Stranger Things, I think that's like Netflix number one priority to get that final Stranger Things season out next year. But we'll see, because when you have all this production ramping up at the same time, there's a fight for resources, right? So it's not everything that wants to be shot right now can be shot right now. Primarily existing tent poles, stuff that was in the middle of production, that is all at the priority right now. So a lot of new material, a lot of new work is going to be delayed from a production standpoint / perhaps ungreenlit. We've kind of already been hearing about that with stuff, and that obviously really affects writers, who necessarily don't get paid for stuff that doesn't get sold anymore. So the effects will continue for some time, but thankfully the hard part is over. But let me know, how are you feeling about how the strikes have gone on over the last 6 months? I think this was objectively worthwhile for what it did. It was just necessary for the labor that is required to operate such an industry. So short-term pain, long-term gain, we'll see. But let me know how you're feeling about it. And for more reactions to Hollywood, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.